Hello, my name is Filiberto Amati, and I am a partner at Amati and Associates. We are here today for the second chat with Elisabetta Borghi. Welcome, Elisabetta. Elisabetta is one of our experts. Particularly, she has a lot of experience in fashion tech, retail, and she works with us on a number of projects. And we're here today to interview a good friend and one of Betty's projects, so to speak, Iris Skrami from Renoon. And we're going to be asking her some questions about sustainability, fashion, e-commerce, and so on and so forth. Welcome, Iris.
Welcome. Thank you very much for welcoming me. And really excited to be here today.
Thank you. And, Betty, shoot.
Yes. So we just wanted to introduce who is Renoon briefly. If you can explain what you do, and you are a sort of evangelist for the fashion industry right now. You are very popular and engaging a lot of influencer in the media as well. If you can explain exactly what you do right now.
Thank you for that. Renoon is a search platform. In very short words, it's a search platform that helps conscious consumers find sustainable clothing from multiple websites at once. So this is really the core of what Renoon is. And Renoon was born really also from a personal also need for a product like that, a personal problem also. As you might know, we all know that startups normally are born because of problems that people have. And as a consumer, but also having worked in the fashion industry for the early part of my career, I saw and the team saw then the need of a product like Renoon.
Okay. Can you please explain to our audience what is the current transition that the industry is facing right now? If COVID emergency led to accelerate some changes, which changes are in place, and what are you asking with your presence here today to try to increase the commitment in the industry?
Yeah, so sustainability has been something that has started before COVID-19. Of course, COVID-19 has accelerated this trend also by looking at the latest McKinsey reports. Consumers are demanding and increasing their expectations in the topic. However, sustainability, what we also say and feel inside our team is not something to do, is something that, because it needs to be done, but it's something that it cannot be, it's not something as an extra, but it's something that needs to become more and more part of businesses, and especially in the fashion industry. It is now known already for years that the fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries of all, more polluting than aviation and transportation combined. And also, according to the latest McKinsey reports with the fashion agenda, is that if fashion continues to go in this trajectory, it will miss by 50% the targets of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. So what fashion is the need also for sustainability in fashion becomes intrinsic also in the way that how fashion has been setting itself up as a business in itself. And And then, of course, there's like this intrinsic part and this more a side of the topic that has to do with regulations, has to do with a business ethics and policies. However, there's also another side that has to do with the market. So the market of made of people and people, consumers who are demanding a change from the businesses themselves. And what we've seen also as a team is that these two sides go together, but at the same time are kind of also a bit separate in terms of the companies themselves. And the part where Renoon is tackling and the things that we're working on at the moment is this other part, is the part where a business needs to, a fashion brand, a fashion business is changing the way it's actually communicating and actually connecting to the user and to the market itself.
When we speak about coronavirus, there is of course the pandemic has accelerated certain trends, and definitely sustainability is one of them. But it also has reshaped the innovation agenda for many companies. I'm giving you an automotive example. Before the pandemic, everybody was going crazy about self-driving cars and when we're going to get self-driving cars. Because of the pandemic, automotive understand now that actually electrical vehicles, more sustainable vehicles, non-combustion engines, are way more important than self-driving cars. And so there has been this reshuffle. Do you see in fashion, and especially in terms of technologies or opportunities that relate to sustainability, do you see a shift in this agenda because of coronavirus, and what is now less hot than before?
Yeah. So in regarding the agendas of the businesses themselves and the industry itself, it has been in the agenda already. So 2019 was defined also by Business of Fashion as the year of awakening, the year where sustainability was taking a crucial space in the agenda of the CEOs of the fashion companies. And what with coronavirus this has shown is indeed an acceleration of it. The fact that because also the market and consumers are more demanding of this transition, so it doesn't become only a matter of what is in general right to do, but it's about relevancy. So it's the sustainability has become more and more existential. So in the sense that if a brand in the next 5 years is not successful in transforming itself, in adding sustainability elements within the business itself, but also in the brand itself, like what the brand stands for, understanding the values that it actually represents, it really is going to undermine the way it tackles the market. So the recent reports don't show a different trajectory, changes in this trajectory. It really show an acceleration of what was already the trend in 2019.
Okay, but at the cost of which development? So if they are accelerating a trend, it's like you have limited resources. If you are investing more in sustainability, what is that you are leaving behind? Is there a technological vector or a social vector or a design alternative which is going to pay the cost of this acceleration, in your opinion, or not?
So sustainability is also being proven to improve the finances of the businesses themselves. So I from what I've seen, and reports and information that is out there from the businesses, I haven't seen this shift of being, okay, I invest in sustainability, so I'm taking out from something else. It's something also how indeed businesses need to have indeed the resources to do that, but I don't see it being taken away from something else. Maybe from marketing, maybe from other places, but that's not an information that it's widely common, and there's not a trend that each and every business is going in a specific direction.
Okay, briefly, what a brand can do is that they must avoid to do greenwashing. So
Yeah.
in terms of approaching the marketing size, is that they need to be more transparent on what they are trying to do to improve their processes, their operational decarbonization footprint, and also the ability to connect with the consumers. Iris, can you please explain if you see between the consumers different attitude in different ages? For instance, the attitude that Generation Z has right now is asking to the media, and the sensitivity that is probably something new that a baby boomer is trying to express right now.
Yeah, that's definitely, I mean, there's countless of research to demonstrate that the fact indeed that Gen Z is really the generation who is really pushing for this transformation. And so, yeah, that's really the fact. Millennials are sort of in between. So there's this a little bit of a split. Millennials are also the generation of, anyways, being in between of also the digital transformation and everything that the big shift that has been happening in the world over the past 20 years, and is definitely the generation that that is also prone to these changes, to environmentalism. What is also being noted is that with Gen Z, there's also a much more also a much broader view into the different values. So, and to relate it to the question, because the question is really about, indeed, there is greenwashing, because as I was saying before, the more the market is asking for it, the more the brands want to stay relevant to their audience, and the more they're going to try and get this communication out. And this really, sometimes there's a risk of greenwashing. Greenwashing is also something that it's really risky, because and I mean, it happens also in other topics, not only sustainability in general. It's something that has to do with communication. So if you don't communicate the message in the correct way, then you incur in a lot of PR risks and visibility risks linked to that. What we've seen also. Now in Renoon, we have more than 190 brands, so we see their communication. We also talk to them on a daily basis with some of them, and what we see is there's a little bit of a gap between companies indeed who are really good at communicating or have also the budget to communicate, and those who maybe on the other side are doing a lot in sustainability, but in the end they don't have the capabilities themselves, or also the means to get this communication across. So there's also where Renoon plays a really important role, and everything that we're doing ourselves as a business. More and more companies, as in terms of brands and how the brand is communicating, need to get really specific about their sustainability claims, because in the end, greenwashing is really about staying general, making it look like something it's not. So that's really the basic of it. So the more precise your communication is, and the more you make sure that you're not sort of trying to pass on a feeling of being more sustainable than you really are, then you're good. And the best way to do it is by being really specific, and really going into saying exactly why you're saying that, and exactly why is it that the statement that you made is true or not true.
With regards to this last statement, how as a company you certify that those providers or those brands are really sustainable? Is there a process? Is your intellectual property? Is third party? Is it a self-certification process? How does it work?
Yeah, exactly. So I really like the certification part, because, of course, Renoon is not a certification in itself, in the sense that we're not an entity that certifies a specific element of sustainability of a brand or a product. So it's really important to also state that we do analysis both at the brand level and at the product level. So that's really also the innovation that we're bringing forward, which until now has been done either scattered or mostly at the brand level. What Renoon does, we've developed a proprietary extraction and processing of data technology. So it's indeed our own. And what we do is that we extract this data and then we analyze it. So what Renoon is doing is making sure that there's transparency for consumers to actually make decisions and translate this really complex sustainability data into something that they can understand. So just to make a very practical example, GOTS certified, all about the different compositions, where the product has been made. So all these details are details that we extract from the brands, we require to the brands to show us. And then with the information that we have, we are now working on basically creating an infrastructure that can allow us to then show it to the user in a language that is familiar to them. Because not everyone knows and not everyone wants to know what a GOTS certain product means, or what a blue sign is, or the different certifications that the different producers and manufacturers of that brand might have. So we really make it really simple. So for example, an item that would be GOTS certified, we can tell the user, okay, this is a low impact item. So you're saving resources by going for that item.
That's a terrific work, I think, because it's really helpful from a consumer point of view, in removing the barriers you were talking about. Yeah, exactly. Because also it's really also linked to what Elisabetta was saying about greenwashing, because once you get really specific with it, the user knows, the consumer knows, it's very specific, and then can make indeed those conscious decisions
that can lead them to feel good about the product and the brand that they decided to purchase that.
Yes, in particular, you are trying to decode, let's say decode, all these standards in a more easier way to embrace all the different usage, starting from the apps to the normal desktop version. And what kind of filters do you use? Can you explain just 2 or 3, just to
definitely. So basically, as you said, Betty, we have both a web version and an app version. We are actually launching the new app this winter. It's going to be a full new experience with all the user feedback that we got in the last couple of months of our prototype being live. And what basically the main features, the main different sections of the values that users can find items for. We base it on 4 main categories where the impact can be made in terms of sustainability and conscious buying. And then, so these are the environmental protection, the ethical labor, that it's also mostly, we also link it to something broader that we call human well-being, because it's not only about indeed workers, but it's everyone linked to that specific brand or item that has been treating human beings that have gotten in contact with it in a good way. Then there's animal ethics, and in the end, it's also technology and innovation, where we put in all the new materials, the brands that are experimenting with blockchain traced technology, etc. And then we have a category that it's a bit transversal, so it's the accessing it, how people can access that specific item. That's why we've also putting a lot of focus into pre-loved items, so making sure that, okay, so you can also consume that specific item from the brand directly, but also buying it from a market that it's already there. So let's make use of the products that we already have in this world and make them circulate among us.
That's nice, because in this period with circular economy booming,
yeah, exactly,
and the different levels of power of purchasing, it is a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is how you create value for the brands and for consumers. But what is your business model? How do you extract value from this process?
Yeah. So Renoon has indeed for the consumer has a business model that it's not directly so out there, in the sense that Renoon is really a search platform. So we don't take the purchase inside of our platform, but we show to them, okay, where this item that you were looking for is available. So really, like, also tackling that problem when it comes to, okay, I know where I can buy products, but now tell me where they are at the moment. Because the problem with sustainability is also that there's like this different collections and different sections in different websites. So our partners are not only brands, but also third retailers, so multi-brand retailers. We have, for example, Luisa Via Roma LVR Sustainable Collection. We partner also with other marketplaces like Immaculate Vegan, so that are really also focused maybe on one value. And basically, how we extract the value is we take a commission, so from the different transactions. So it's like, let's say, a normal affiliate product. What we also do is do collaborations with these different brands. So to make sure that we also help them to get their message across. These need to be brands that we pick. So we need to first decide, and then we allow them to do campaigns with us. And the third way that we are also extracting value from indeed the huge amount of work that in the end is automated all by our tech, but there's still a lot of work in the back, is by allowing third party other companies access the product data that we process. So as I was saying, like all this with tagging, all the product information that we have, we are allowing other companies to get access to it. And we really also like this model because it also can help other companies both avoid greenwashing, making sure that they have also the information and the data to actually respond better to the market, to a sustainability market, because sometimes we know that is also a black box of of the data. It's a really new market, so everything needs to be built up.
We are here today just to explain to all the people what is going on and to make it more simple to understand.
Yeah,
And how do you classify yourself as a company in this sustainable framework?
Yeah.
Do you enable brands? Do you have particular KPIs internally?
Yeah. So for Renoon, our objective has been since the beginning bridge the market with businesses. Because also from myself, having worked in the fashion industry before, also some of my co-founders likewise, we've noticed how disconnected businesses and brands can be from consumers themselves. And of course, also I spoke about, and we always refer to data from research. However, there's still a piece missing, and the fashion industry always has this in mind. I've heard this a lot. To make sure that we can succeed into transforming the fashion industry in a sustainable industry, we need to collaborate. But the collaboration, sometimes it needs to also be with the consumer. So this collaboration with consumer has been almost forgotten. Being there with the consumer, like talking to the consumer and making sure that there is this way where the market can really be understood and there really can be a communication with the consumers themselves. So we're placing ourselves in this part, in making sure that there's a bridge between what the user is searching and companies that can provide that, and how can companies continue to provide that in the future for them. In terms of our objectives for sustainability, we are really indeed we are really bridging these parts. So by doing that, I mean the SDG that we always refer to as ourselves as Renoon is number 12 of sustainable consumption, and this is something that Renoon is mostly in the focus. Of course, by allowing users to actually switch to a different consumption, we also, of course, contribute to many other SDGs related to climate, related to the well-being of people, related to all those, also related to the different values that we have. However, our main focus is that, so allowing conscious consumerism to take place. Our goal is really to make sure that everyone can access and be able to access conscious fashion and access fashion in the most sustainable way possible. So that's really our mission. We want to make sure that this so difficult activity for a user is really made simple and easy. By taking everything else that a user might want to have when they buy fashion, because of course, style, price, location, everything else needs to stay the same. So our mission is really to make sure that users can find that specific item that they're looking for on those specific terms that they like, but also make sure that they can find a more sustainable alternative.
Okay. As a startup, you probably have to face to other competitor because you are a challenger in the market, and normally when you are the first, there are multiple other business that try to approach the same way you do. How do you see yourself in front of big giants like Google or Zalando or other main operators in the business?
Yeah, so when it comes to competition, Renoon, so the Zalando, the different platforms where fashion is sold, they're not our competitors, they're our partners. So if somebody from Zalando is watching this, they can also contact us. We still don't have them as a partner, but we can indeed have a partnership with Zalando, as we have already a partnership with Vestiaire Collective, with Luisa Via Roma, and basically the rest of the competition anyways can come also from another company that can decide to do this another day. But what we're doing is we're of course the first to the market. If you type sustainable fashion on the App Store, we are one of the first that is appearing. And this is also not about then only being the first one, but being the ones that are going to do it right. And with sustainability, it takes time. It takes time to create a product that people love and actually respond to their needs when it comes to sustainability in fashion. So of course, we see that there are also other platforms that we're not the only ones who had this idea, because this idea is actually coming from a problem and a need from the market. And for sure, there were going to be others who are going to do that. But it's really important that this problem is tackled in the right way, and with the right partners and with the right approach as well to the users. So making sure that the users can be taken in a community way. So make sure that they're not feeling alone in the change that they're doing in their consumption. So yeah, that's basically our view in terms of competition.
I think that you are also very democratic in terms of the possibility is being given also to very small and unknown brands, emerging designers. And the important is that they respect certain criteria and they are fully ethical,
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's very important for us. When we started Renoon, before we started it, so it's now more than 1 year and a half. When we had the initial, indeed, conceptualization of it, me and myself and one of the other co-founders we did really spend a lot of time actually researching what was going on in the fashion industry, and what was going to happen next, not only from a consumer standpoint, but also on the business standpoint. And we saw how to accomplish our mission, to make sure that we can deliver indeed to the largest amount of people as possible, sustainable, a way to access fashion in a more sustainable way. We really needed to be really democratic, as you said, about who we're involving in this journey. And it really needs to be as objective. So our criteria of sustainability is based on objective basis. And what we're really doing is allowing then users to also be there. Renoon is there as the first tool that actually allows them to express themselves, to make sure that they can say how they want to have an impact in this world with their purchases.
Do you sustain these emerging brands in developing their digital transformation strategy as well?
Yeah, we've done that as well. So we have a case study of an emerging brand. She's an Italian designer, very talented. And what we've done is we've also taken the step prior. So we've made her ready to be part of and integrated inside Renoon. So it was both a digital transformation for her, because the brand didn't have an e-commerce yet. Her presence online was still to be defined. So we also rebranded her. We made sure that also sustainability was communicated in a consistent way all over her website and her communication channels, and made sure that indeed she was then ready to be integrated within Renoon. What we're also doing now is that we're planning also some webinars with the brands that join us to make sure that we can also educate them in the best way possible, that also helps them get the message across, and also for us to improve the data collection part, to make sure indeed that not only it's helpful for them to get their message through Renoon, but also through their own channels, because that's indeed really key.
Iris, I have a question. Because building a business, it's often like building a puzzle, no? Except that you are there carving the pieces. And so you described until now the first piece of the puzzle. And then you mentioned about the evangelization part. How do we educate companies? How do we bring them online and so on? And those are other pieces of the puzzle. But really, what's next for you in terms of business model and technological development? What is that you think you're going to be working on 3 years from now, if, touching wood, everything goes as planned?
Yeah. It's bridging the community that we've been building at Renoon, the community of users that are wanting to be able to express themselves in the ways that they want to contribute, and have an impact also when they need to purchase, because in the end, all we need to consume in the end, and the brands and the businesses on the other side. So what we're really going to be working on is to provide constantly users those products, results that can really make it so easy for them to say, okay, I'm going to quit this, I'm going to quit fast fashion, and I'm going to quit buying a product that it's polluting for the world and does not respect also my values as a person. So that's basically what we're going to constantly work on, and how we actually can do that. How can we deliver that? It's constantly through the different aspects of the business that we've been building. So it's of course technology plays an important role. The data that we gather play an important role. And the technology that is happening on the other side from the fashion industry with the new materials, with the exciting also innovation that is happening also on the other side, and making sure that that part is accelerated. Because also something really key that I want to say is that fashion can go towards a more sustainable industry and make the change. This needs to be accelerated also when it comes to the adoption that has on the consumer side. So we really see Renoon play also an important key role in that. So making sure that new innovations get across and get to the market in a much faster way than they did before.
Okay, but let me challenge you for a second, because fashion is not oblivious to the trends that are happening on consumer level. And fashion depends on retail, whether it's online or offline. And what we have seen pre-pandemic is that retail, it's becoming more and more hybrid. Okay, so the largest pre-pandemic trend in Europe and the US was the research online, purchase offline. So a number of online players, for example, are launching applications, Google with Lens, Pinterest, even OLX here in Poland, where basically by snapping a picture of a product in the store, you can research that product online, so you can decide where to buy it offline back again. So there is this process of going back and forth, back and forth. The channels are not separated any longer. Can you be ready for a world where, or are you planning at all? I'm sorry. Can you be ready for a world, or are you planning, for example, for a scenario where a consumer enters in a store, snaps a picture of something they like very much, and you can actually help them finding a sustainable alternative for those looks or for those occasions? Or it's your entry point only is going to be, traditional search, non-visual search, for example? Or are you planning to integrate with virtual assistant? Because in the fastest growing part of search, it's really, with the development of NLP on the Alexa assistants and Siri side. I'm just trying to understand here.
Yeah. So that's definitely a good question and a really interesting development of how we're moving. However, I see this as expanding the use cases of Renoon. It's not about something that undermines the first goal and the first use case of Renoon. The first use case of Renoon stays. Then when we are to expand to extra cases, then what we're going to do is we're going to indeed look at, okay, so our user, how do they want to access Renoon in different ways? What is the most common one? Because of course, indeed, it's really interesting case of a consumer going in a store and scanning a product, but we want to see, okay, how many people would like to do that? Is there indeed a specific and very is there a proven use case for that or not? So the first use case of Renoon stays. The rest, they're going to be all additions, ways to access Renoon that we're going to indeed have a look at as we go and as the different industries evolve.
Yes, another add-on that you probably could consider is that there is also an emerging technology regarding the styling done with artificial intelligence. So all the features we quoted are possible evolutions. It depends on the market, it depends on the possibility. So good luck for opening up to possible investors in the future.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank you, Iris. It was really great to have you and chatting with you, and we look forward to speaking to you in the future to know more how the plan went.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.